Ebube Olivia Akueme, and I'm coming to you live from Kent in the UK. How are you today? I hope you're well and you are good. Happy new month. Happy new month of May. So we welcome the new month. It's Mighty May for me. Um, very, very mighty. And I hope it's the same for you. So claim it as Mighty May and yeah, we'll go and seize the month, God willing, and all of that. Anyway, I hope you're well and you're good and you're having a very good Sunday and you're having a good bank holiday for those of us who are in the UK. You're making the most of it, whether with your family or certain plans that you do have. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to um, focus on possibilities. And I'm saying that because, sometimes we get distracted by negativity and we get distracted by things that we shouldn't be distracted by. But we're human beings and it's just the way the brain works, sometimes to get distracted. And so today is all about how do you stay focused, how do you keep on staying focused, especially on your goals and your dreams and aspirations on what is possible. As human beings, it's very easy for us to look at things that are not working, look at things that are not going well. We can, go down the path or the route of, complaining and moaning and all of that, but it takes a bit of work to remain focused on what is possible and what we can do given the challenges that we're currently facing. Hello, Inky. How are you? I hope you're well and you're good. Welcome onto my Instagram live. How is the family? I hope you're having a very good Sunday and everybody's fine, as well. So if you're just tuning in today, I'm talking about how to focus on, what is possible in the midst of everything that you might be going through right now in your life, in your business, or wherever it is that you're doing at work, in your relationships, in your finances, and so on and so forth. So, I like this topic because, it helps us to sort of like fine tune our perspective and, where we're kind of putting our focus at this particular point in time, being that this is the beginning of a new month. A new month, of course, is all about, new possibilities, new focus, newness of everything. And it's good because, new means that that's another chance to do things differently, to do things, in a different way from the way that we have done it before. Hello, Maurice. How are you? I hope you're well and you are good. Thanks for tuning in into my Instagram live as well. So, how do you stay focused? How do you stay focused on what is possible as opposed to thinking, what is negative or what is not working, and so on and so forth? The first thing for me is usually to look at what has worked before for you. What have you done before that has worked, or what is currently working? Okay. And I think that this is coming from a place of gratitude as well. I'm coming from a place of possibility. Gratitude in the sense that somebody who is grateful is more likely, and this is why it's always very good to practice being grateful or to practice gratitude. Some people have what we call a gratitude journal where you can write down maybe every single day three things. Some people go up to 10 things that they are grateful for. And I think that exercise is very, very essential, even if you're able to do that mentally on a daily basis, because what that does is it helps you to stay focused on the things that are working and on the things that have worked for you in your life. So if you're faced with a certain challenge at the moment, or you're faced with, you know, you want to hit a goal or a target, accomplish something, and so on and so forth. The question is to look at what is currently working for you and take things from what is working, not what isn't working, but what is working for you and what has worked for you before. In fact, you might even want to go further and look into what has worked for other people. But it's all about looking at the possibilities. The possibilities. The possibilities is the thing that you want to keep your eyes, your attention, and your intention focused on at the moment. The things that can work, the things that are able to lead you to where you want to go. So the question is what has worked for you, what is working for you, and then begin to gather evidence of the possibilities that you probably have experienced in your life in the five areas that I usually mention, whether it's in your work, in your relationships, in your finances, in your health, or in your spirituality? What are the things that have worked? What are the things that are working and in your life and in the life of other people around you that you have witnessed? Because faith is not built from thin air. It comes with some kind of evidence as well. And one of the things that gives us the kind of assurance or the kind of evidence that we're looking for and to help us stay focused is looking at what has worked before. If something has happened before, then it is likely that it will happen again, even though the circumstances at the moment might look like it's not happening or it can't happen. But if it's happened before, if you can gather a little bit of evidence towards that fact, then you're more likely, to keep going and then begin to yield the kind of results that you're looking for. That would be my number one thing. My number two tip is very mental, and it's actually looking at you know your your mental state in the sense of you need to contain every single form of negativity that you come across. Negativity is just simply looking at things in a very wrong way, especially a way that would not serve you and would not yield the kind of results that you're looking for. So you have to learn how to contain things like assumptions, things like generalizations. It always happens this way, so it's going to happen this way anyway. Or assuming, this is the way that I think it will happen without necessarily having any form of evidence towards that. So when you begin to assume and when you begin to cast generalizations or when you begin to come with those kind of negative mindsets or state of mind or thinking or patterns that don't help, what you're trying to do then is to shut down the possibility and the possibility of you, achieving your goal, the possibility of you thinking in the way you should think, which will be beneficial to you at the end of the day. Hi, Dean. Good to see you on here. I hope you're well. I just gave you a wave and I hope you're good. So if you're just tuning in, today is talking about how to focus on what is possible. And why not? Why shouldn't we be talking about this today being the 1st of May? Happy new month of May, by the way. To me, it's Mighty May. Okay, I've termed it Mighty May, and I hope that you can, give it a very good name, Magnificent May. For me, Mighty May, Marvelous May, whatever you want to call it. But look for something positive and give the month of May. Okay, so my first tip, if you're just tuning in today, of how you can stay focused on what is possible, the first thing is to gather evidence of what has worked and what is currently working for you, and then take things from there. You have to have that discipline of taking your eyes off the things that are not working, the things that are sort of creating like the stumbling blocks in your path. So that would be number one. And then my number two tip there is to begin to contain negativity, negative thinking patterns, and being negative, like assumptions, as I mentioned, generalizations, and all of that. And the best way, usually, to contain negative patterns or negative thinking is, first of all, to have what I call a quiet moment. The moments you are still and quiet, you can easily, it's like when you hear something drop in the midst of silence, it's the same thing. You can pick up certain negative thoughts that are reoccurring within you. And these ones are reoccurring, not just reoccurring, but they are also powerful because they guide your decision making. And it's in stillness and quiet that sometimes you can pick up on these negative thoughts. And when you pick up on the negative thoughts, you have to identify them, label them, and the most important thing you do with negative thinking is to begin to question and to challenge. Because negative thinking will tell you things like, don't bother don't bother doing this because it's done like that. That's generalization. Or don't bother doing this, or that's the way things are, and so on. But you can start challenging your negative thoughts to say, okay, what if we do it this other way? What will happen? And you find out sometimes that your negative thinking is powerless. And that's the way you begin to challenge a lot of times some of these negative thoughts that are sort of like driving you in the direction that you don't want to go. Usually it's always steering you away from your goals and your dreams and the things that you want to achieve. So remember that you need to challenge your negative thinking. You can't just allow it to be there and fester and turn into other things within yourself. That's very, very dangerous. So you want to begin to challenge, to question, to probe some of the ideas and negative thoughts that come up within your thoughts, your mind, and so on, and begin to instill within yourself opposite outcomes. Like, what if it goes the other way? What if it happens this other way instead of that other way? I know you've always thought this way. I do it sometimes to myself, and it feels like it's crazy, but I like doing that because the more I get to do that, the more I find out that I get less and less of the effect of those negative thoughts, on myself. And it's just by question, just by, challenging those thoughts and saying, okay, no, I know you're saying this. And it's common, let's say, this discussion you're having with someone. I know you're saying this. However, what if it happens this other way? Can't we explore this other way? Can we check it out? Let's check it out. I was driving the other day and there was something negative that came to my mind. I can't remember what it was now. And when that thing came to my mind, I just remember saying to myself, saying to that thought, I know you're saying this, but why not we just do it this other way? Why don't we just try it? Now I'm going to try it. And I tried it. And I was like, yeah, so nothing happened. So what was that thought for? And if we don't constantly challenge some of these negative thoughts, like I said, it will fester. So remember, you have a little bit of work to do because negative thoughts or ideas, happens to everyone. As I mentioned at the beginning, sometimes it's just the way the brain works. Our brain or part of our brain is there to defend us from threats and so on. And it creates all these anxieties and fears and all of that. I'm just, speaking at a very surface level. But the truth of the matter is that we can't just accept some of these things, some of these ideas, like, it's cast in stone. No, it's not cast in stone. So you need to take time and begin to challenge some of these ideas that you have. So if you're just tuning in today, it's all about how you can use the month of May to begin to focus on what is possible in any of the five areas of your life, whether it's in your career or your work, in your spirituality, your finances, your health, or in your relationships. But the truth of the matter is that the more you keep focused on possibilities, the more you keep focused on the positives that can happen, the positive outcomes that can happen, the more likely you are going to hit it. Okay. So start with looking at what has worked, what is working, and then begin to, challenge those negative thoughts and patterns that you have. My number three point or tip is this, that you have to take a lot of action. You see, action in itself towards a goal, towards an accomplishment is already positive. So the moment you begin to put your acts together and you begin to take action, you're already doing something positive. So my number three tip is to focus on taking lots and lots of active action. Lots and lots of action. That's what it is. And you find out that the more action you take, the more you distill the negative thoughts, but the more you also create possibilities as well. And this is what you want to do, not just in the month of May, but throughout the whole of the year as well, so that God willing, you come out at the end of 2022 better, that you were able to challenge the things that have been stopping you, and they're usually like negative thoughts, disempowering thoughts, thoughts that don't enable you, challenge them. Remember, my friends, as well, to focus on things that have worked for you and are working. And every one of us, we all have something that has worked or that is currently working for us. No one is left without anything. Look at the one thing. And the one way to do it is always to be at that place where you're constantly grateful and you're practicing gratitude. Always think, even if it's mentally, about three things every day that you're grateful for. I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, I'm grateful for that. The moment you're doing that, you're actually building evidence of what is working and what has worked for you. And the more evidence you can gather on things that have worked and things that are working, it helps to keep you focused on what is possible. And then, of course, you're sorting out your negative thoughts by challenging. You listen. You might sometimes not be able to pick them up when you're fast paced, when you're up and about, when you're busy, and all of that. But when you're quiet in your downtime, in your silent time, okay, you're able to pick up on those negative thoughts. And the more you pick up on them, you begin to question them, probe, challenge, and even do the opposite and say, okay, let's try out and let's see what the outcome will be. And remember, take action. Action, 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 action. So here is from me to you on this beautiful Sunday, 1st May 2022, wishing you a very good, 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 splendid, and mighty May. All right, my friends, see you on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Take care, stay well, and remember, you need to focus on the possibilities and not the things that don't work, but on the possibilities. Take care. Bye. Thank you, Dean. Thanks a lot. I'm actually going to take a screenshot of that. Oopsie. Okay, my friends, stay well. Ciao. Bye.